Another season has come, therefore, you know what that means. It's time to do the annual Most Hated NHL Players video. In this video, we'll be going over a select handful of players that aren't exactly league-wide favorites, and ranking them accordingly. We'll be dissecting each one in an attempt to explain as to why they're so despised amongst the hockey community. And with that, here are the top 5 most hated NHL players of 2021. While it may be rather puzzling as to why Tony DeAngelo is at the bottom of the list, it just so happens that there's actually others out there that are even more despised. Well, if we're going to describe the antics of Tony DeAngelo, we could say toxic, as the defenseman displayed a disturbing pattern going all the way back to his days spent in the OHL of spewing offensive slurs on multiple occasions that resulted in suspensions. He was not only suspended by the league, but also his own team for, quote, violating the league's harassment and abuse/diverse policy. Fast forward a bit to his draft day with Tampa, and the pattern continued from there, as DeAngelo still hadn't learned and continued to struggle with attitude problems, and was also suspended for abuse of an official. Therefore, after his meltdown after an overtime loss sustained at the hands of the Pittsburgh Penguins, in which he targeted goaltender Alex Georgiev, the Rangers made the move to buy him out thereafter. So yes, a toxic locker room cancer that has been apparently welcomed to Raleigh with open arms. For Hurricane fans, though, let's hope this guy can change. Similarly to DeAngelo, Kane isn't here due to his behavior on ice, but rather off of it, as number 9 has been quite the spectacle as of late for multiple disturbing reasons. From child neglect to gambling accusations, even though Kane has been cleared of supposedly betting on his own games, this attention hasn't helped his already fragile image. Aside from having a personal life that resembles a soap opera, the dysfunction has followed Kane into several NHL locker rooms, resulting in fights with teammates and even his own current team, not wanting him back on the roster. Currently, the main headline regarding the forward has been his lengthy 21-game suspension that he received from the NHL due to not following COVID-19 protocols, which in translation can be summed up to forging his own vaccination card. Despite giving an apology while calling the dishonesty a quote mistake, the attempts from Kane at receiving forgiveness from the NHL community have fallen on deaf ears at this point in time. Similarly to his younger brother and his father before him, Matthew Tkachuk displays a style of game that hasn't exactly endeared him to his opponents and NHL fans alike, as a forward is typically the one tormenting the opposing netminder, stirring the pot with whomever he can, and being an absolute pain to play against. But even still, Tkachuk cemented his place as public enemy number 1, especially in Edmonton after deciding to turtle on multiple occasions after poking the bear per se, this time in the form of Zach Kassian. Top that off with his juvenile antics from last season, and well, it's pretty easy to figure out as to why Tkachuk is on this list to begin with. If you've been a hockey fan for a considerable amount of time, then you'll know fair and well that it's pretty much a given that the rat will always be on a list such as this. One could say that the hate for Marchand stems from partially his past antics, which resulted in multiple fines and suspensions, but also his present behavior, as despite the fact that Marchand has managed to keep his nose clean suspension-wise, he still managed to get under his opponent's skin with ease just as frequently. From trolling to just being a plain POS on ice, it's no wonder Marchand has been the most punchable face around for nearly a decade. And most of you likely saw this one coming, as Wilson definitely went up on the hate meter for mostly due to his actions last season against the New York Rangers. But really, if we're being brutally honest here, even prior to the onslaught against the Blue Shirts, Wilson was already quite despised, as since coming into the league, the forward has injured multiple players and has been known to straddle the line of legality on a frequent basis. Therefore, after Wilson decided to go postal on Buchnevich and to injure Artemi Panarin, he pretty much caused the Rangers franchise to implode from the inside out, resulting in Wilson not only being public enemy number 1 in Pittsburgh and Boston alike, but now pretty much in every NHL city there is except Washington, D.C.